Biden's Build Back Better agenda is in full meltdown mode, and it shows. Joe practically pleading with Democrats to save him.
We need to stay together and bound by the values that we hold as a party. Because here's the deal. We won 2020 as a unified party, and we're looked to 2022. As we do that, we need to stay unified.
Meanwhile, Democrats are worrying that Biden's tanking poll numbers will sink their chances at holding on to Congress in 2022. Dana, so it's game of chicken between the moderates and the far left. Biden has thrown in with the far left. Someone's going to have to cave or compromise by the end of the year.
Well, I think that they look at all of their numbers and they realize there's a cascade of a lack of confidence and all of the issues. You could tick down them from education, immigration, inflation, foreign policy, Afghanistan, like all of that. So that means that Joe Biden's credit in terms of political capital is really low. So he doesn't have any like juice, right, to call and say, you better get in line, right? Because he said he was going to run as the moderate. He was going to run as a person that will unite everybody, and he's not done that for the first 9 months. Now basically everything's up. Everybody gets it. He won the battle, but Bernie Sanders won the war. And now they're calling all of the shots. There's a woman named Abigail Spanberger. She's a congresswoman from Virginia. And she wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post yesterday basically saying, we really need this infrastructure bill. But that ship has sailed. President Biden said, no, they will be linked with the $3.5 trillion or whatever they end up with. Now, I will say this. Do not underestimate their ability to get something done.
Yeah, they'll get something done.
I think that they know they have to have something to run on, and so someone eventually will cave, but I do think it will be the moderates.
You do? Well, the moderates are the only reation they have the House majority, so that would be
on the House side. I don't know about Manchin and Sinema,
okay.
But on the House side.
All right, Greg, your thoughts?
I'm just thinking about a Spam burger.
Delicious.
You know what I mean? That's very big in Hawaii. Fry up some Spam, put it on a potato bun.
It's actually, well, her name is Span Burger. If I pronounced it incorrectly, I apologize. But a Spam burger is also something.
I prefer to think of it as a Spam burger. It's amazing to see the grand unifier who thought he could unify a country, cannot unify his party. He can barely unify his bathrobe. So why is this the case? His only purpose, as you said, was to unify a voting mass to beat Trump. And it wasn't really that hard for him because they just needed the vessel. They needed the look of an old white moderate that's as comfy as milk and cookies at bedtime. And now what's happening is you're watching the whole thing implode. It was a trick. We're all seeing, and the voting public is seeing what's behind the curtain, that he was just a false front, designed to win an election. And now the implosion comes now and later. The thing is, though, if you were given the choice, this is what you would have done. Do you want to be Bernie Sanders and lose, or do you want to pretend to be something else and win? So they still won. They pulled it. They pulled the wool, if I may say so, over our eyes.
Or the bathrobe.
The bathrobe.
Dagan, the poll came out over CBS. No one even knows what is in this thing. And no one thinks it's actually going to help the economy or their own family. So that whatever they're pushing, infrastructure, Build Back Better, no one even knows what's in it.
The American people are smart, despite the way that Biden and company speak to the vast majority of this country. And they know inflation is spiking. You have a variety of commodities that are near or at all-time highs, gasoline prices at a 7-year high. And they look at $5 trillion in this new century welfare monstrosity. And they think, more money equals more inflation, despite what Jen Psaki says, that we need to spend money to solve the inflation problem. So it is that simple, that they're not behind this, the American people, for that very reason. However, Joe Biden is standing up there like Willie Loman trying to sell it to America. And in terms of unity, I think 48 out of 50 Democratic senators in favor of this new century welfare monstrosity. That's pretty good. That's 96% of the Democrats in the Senate. So what happened to the party that there are only two people who are saying, Social Security and Medicare, $112 trillion hole over 30 years, and Medicare's hospital funds running out of money in 5 years. There's nobody there standing up for, not banked up in America.
So, Hereford Jr., what is going on? Is Joe Biden working the phones and no one's listening, or is he not working the phones? What's happening here?
He should be working the phones, and the only thing he should be saying is that the country's prepared to pass an infrastructure plan. Let's do it. The rest of this stuff, let's come back. Let's see how the country digests the first set of things.
But he already said no to that. When he went to the Hill.
Well, he can change his mind. I mean, every politician reserves the right to change his or her mind. And if he's going to find his way to higher ground, he's got to do this. Look, you're right, Greg. He was elected on COVID. And I think his numbers are falling largely because people are saying my lives are not normal. Every time, even the first story, the Southwest pilots are saying, what's wrong? Why can't we get some normalcy here? People come at it from different ways. Dang and I may disagree on this, but we all want this matter to be resolved. And we're not there. People thought his stability and competence would find its way through. And frankly, it has not. And then you have a party, unfortunately, my old pals in the Congress, they seem to think that they have a 50-seat majority in the House and a 15-seat majority in the Senate. You don't. If you get there, then you can come back and perhaps do some of these things. The country would have said, this is what we want. The country is willing to go forward on some things. And the thing that they're willing to go forward on is what Joe Biden and Republicans and Democrats in the Senate, including Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, negotiated. Pass that first.
Wow. You're making a lot of sense, Harold Ford Jr. I don't know what to make of that.
Nobody else in the
I love when you say my name. Say my name again.
Harold Ford Jr. I love saying that.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.